6 years ago, Jon and I left Denmark for good. And today we are going to share the real reason why we left this country behind.
Because everyone says that Denmark is the happiest country in the world. So why would we leave a place like this? By the way, guys, my parents' apartment is for sale. I'm sure people will notice it from down there. Amelia, you're dressed like a Christmas tree.
I know, I look like a pine tree.
Is that one of the things that you miss about Denmark?
Pine trees. I miss the inspiration you get on the street in Denmark because everyone looks so cool.
Denmark is the country of vanity. It's about having...
Stop. It's because design is a big part of who we are, okay?
For girls, it's about comparing who has the most expensive rare bag.
No.
For men,
No.
it's about who has the most expensive watch. Is it Rolex? Is it Patek Philippe? Who can get the nicest car on a flex lease without anyone finding out? Flex lease. Flex lease. Definitely flex lease.
Jon, what are you doing?
I'm just taking an SMS loan because we're having a cup of coffee. It's 10 euros. You better enjoy that coffee. Obviously, this is not about hating on Denmark.
No, because I love Denmark and I'm so happy to be here after almost a year being home.
Denmark has a lot of good things for us. Denmark is just not what we are looking for in life. I think for me, Copenhagen represents too much of this career-oriented life.
Compared to almost any other big city and any other working country, I think that Danes have a very good work-life balance. They can afford having a good work-life balance.
You mean work-drink balance?
Yes.
Because there's no nature in Denmark.
You're so negative.
This is Kastellet. We used to live right next to here.
On the other side of it.
And this would be where I would run several times a year. To be fair, this is nature. Jeg mangler virkelig mine vandter.
Ja, vi må købe nogle til dig. Du har ikke rigtig nogen.
Nej.
If I could have that mill and live in that, I would move back to Denmark instantly.
There is one real reason for why we left, but it's actually not the weather.
Well, it's part of it. For me, it was the main reason to really convince me to get the heck out.
So if you don't know the climate in Denmark, you have to understand that it is 8 months of winter and 1 day of summer. I'm so excited for today. The winter is almost an analogy for the lifestyle in Denmark because it's so dark. Just like when you get blackouts from drinking too much. We actually have this collective pandemic. We call it the winter depression. And it does happen every single year. That's why Denmark is actually the highest consumer in Europe of antidepressant medication. Yeah. Which is crazy. Because they claim we're the happiest people in the world. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I always thought that it was so ridiculous to call Danish people the happiest in the world.
But I think we lost to Finland now, right? Or something.
Yeah, but I mean, Tim Ferriss, he had a podcast about why Danish people are the happiest in the world. He talked with a Danish guy who said, the reason is that we have no expectations or very low expectations to life. So we just kind of flow through life and we don't really have big dreams. We're kind of okay with what we have, which is pretty good. I actually think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I do. And I also think that Danish people generally are very blessed. Jon and I grew up in a country where everyone was equal. I could get the same education growing up in a poor family as Jon could in a rich family. Of course, then we end up paying 70% in tax so that lazy people can also get the same.
We'll get to that later, but I like that we all have equal rights and opportunities in terms of education, healthcare. But I don't like the fact that there is this thing called jantelov in Denmark, which translates to you are not better than anyone. Don't think that you are better than anyone. It's so hard-coded into our Danish DNA that I do believe that this has a very limiting effect on us as Danish people in terms of fulfilling our true purpose and doing what we love.
You'll also find that Danish people tend to be quite apologetic if they have success. Which is
it's like, oh, I was lucky. It's not
because I worked super hard and didn't sleep for months.
In Denmark, you don't have a big entrepreneur culture. We don't really start companies on the scale that we used to or should because we are brainwashed.
Wait, I'm sorry, but you have to show them. We have this thing in Denmark called the Jesus seagulls, and they can walk on water. It's kind of fascinating.
I didn't know that. What? They're walking on water?
Are you serious?
I've never seen this.
Brainwashed to what?
We're brainwashed to go to university and get a degree so we can get a job. We are not really encouraged to start our own business. And I think that is just a shame. We haven't had a company in Denmark.
You don't even know because you never took an education.
I'm not trying to bash on Denmark, but I just feel that Denmark is already so glorified that we have to point out the flaws.
Scandinavia, not just Denmark, have accomplished something that they deserve enormous credit for.
You are also a hater. I don't know what happened to you as a child that makes you hate Denmark so much. Because it's such a nice country.
I had a wonderful
childhood. For me,
childhood.
it's literally the weather. The weather is a pain in the ass. And it's very expensive, even when you have a good salary. But that's lately. It wasn't that bad when we left, for example,
Yes,
as it is now.
it was.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Every single time we come here, I do miss living in Denmark because this is our old neighborhood.
This is actually the prettiest building in Denmark. And I think if I have to be positive for a few seconds, you know, I love the buildings here. I love the apartments you find in here. They are completely insanely expensive. I've never been inside the church.
Yes, you have.
No?
This is a church and it's beautiful. Oh God.
I love Denmark. This is our old address.
I miss this place so much.
I do believe that this apartment I had here was a big contributor to Amalie actually becoming my girlfriend.
Yes.
Amalie, she came from the ghetto.
No,
in Nørrebro. And now I can tell you why I was traumatized by living in Denmark.
Why?
I had a scooter. It was one of those that can only go 25 kilometers an hour because in Denmark you need to have a scooter license to get the fast one. So imagine going to work, you hate it, every day, back and forth, 5 kilometers. It's freezing. You're getting overtaken by ladies on lady bikes uphill. Those 5 years traumatized me. I was like, fuck Denmark. Fuck this place. Fuck it! I'm just trying to come up with reason because I didn't hate it that much.
We are literally at the postcard of Denmark. We're gonna walk there, it takes 2 minutes. This is literally New Harbor, the postcard of Denmark, and we used to live right next to it. It's like a waffle, right?
Yeah, it's not that sweet.
No? How much are they?
This is so good. Do you think Danish, they treasure their nationality and culture?
Generally, I wouldn't say so, no. I mean, I remember when we moved to Portugal, where we live now, everybody knows about the history, everybody knows about the kings and the empire. And when you ask a Danish person, they will be like, yeah, we had Christian IV and something about the Vikings.
It actually translates well into the food, Danish food. We don't really eat Danish food anymore as we used to, like 20, 30 years ago. Like finding Danish restaurants today is quite difficult if you want the real Danish food.
We actually made a food tour where Jon and I, we were going to find all the traditional food that we grew up with our grandmother making. And it's so difficult. We found that we couldn't really find a lot of places. So yeah, but go watch that.
What is the best thing about Denmark? The food? What is the best food you like?
The inn.
Kebab?
Kebab, that's not Danish.
That's not Danish.
Alibaba Ballerup.
Alibaba Ballerup. Okay, yeah, there you go. Here's some Swiss Christmas market. Ligesom i Mexico der. 10 shots, 100 kroners. This is where you sit to the early morning talking about ideas and ambitions that you will never fulfill.
And then you meet the persons that you shared these ideas with in the supermarket the next day, and you don't say hi.
You know, Danish people are very reserved. It's hard to befriend Danish people.
But the thing is that once you actually make a Danish friend, you will most likely know them for the rest of your life.
Lara, there's a friend. He's not reserved, even though he's Danish. Oh, a little bit reserved. Yay! And they're not even drunk.
This is the most Danish thing I've seen in a long time.
You see why it's hard to live in Denmark as a reformed alcoholic. Oh my God, look at this tonic. This is a rare tonic.
Don't blame your alcoholism on Denmark, because it got
I
way
am.
worse in Portugal.
I am. Amelia, I want to take up drinking. I've stopped so many times that I can do it again. I'm hungry.
I'm hungry for shopping.
We're about to have lunch at Copenhagen's oldest restaurant.
Hej, har du bord til to?
Desværre ikke.
Nej.
Fuldstændig udsolgt. Det har været flere måneder.
Do you think she's lying, Lara? Denmark is the best place
my
in the
God.
world when it comes to fine dine restaurants.
Yes.
You have Geranium, you have Alchemist, you have Noma. But when it comes to normal, accessible restaurants, it is so boring in Copenhagen. It's burger, 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 and then Italian.
It's because you're also cheap, so you go to the places where you feel like you can afford it and you don't.
What?
That's true.
Name one restaurant.
Right here.
Yeah. We
okay,
are in the middle of Copenhagen.
Oh,
Ja.
så sig
Se.
hej, Lara. Nej, det er fordi Lars. It's okay, Lara.
Point.
Yay.
Selma. Uh-oh. Fully booked. Okay, let's try.
Hej. Fyldt. Der er plads.
Ja, det er noget at gøre, hvis vi har andre siddende gæster, der er allergiske eller noget.
Den er hypoallergenisk, det vil sige så,
Jo, lad nu være.
at man ikke kan blive... So we didn't end up eating Danish.
But we found something better. We found this Korean place. But we're not here to talk about food. I think it's time to talk about the Danish taxes because it is a pretty big reason why we left the country.
So they have a new millionaire tax, for example. So imagine you earn, let's say you earn €1 million a year. You will pay around 65% in taxes. But even when you are in the lowest bracket, you pay 40 plus 8%. Imagine when you go buy stuff, you pay 25% VAT. You know, people, they talk about Denmark as this, oh, it's a great example on how socialism works. But reality is that Denmark is still reaping the benefit of the society that was created back in the 70s, 80s. But late 90s, that's where it really started to go downhill. And Denmark is going downhill fast. So I just don't think that Denmark is a sustainable place to live long term if you like freedom. How is the food?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Det er med lækkert det her.
Food is good in Denmark sometimes.
Sammen med en nærerøv.
This I miss in Denmark.
Yeah, me too.
But Amelia, it's time to wrap up.
vlog.
What is the real reason?
What is it, Jon?
The real reason is that we like sunlight. We like
You
having...
said in the beginning of the video that it had not so much to do with the weather. And now you're
No,
saying...
no. I said we didn't leave Denmark because of the weather. I think, honestly, we left Denmark because we found something that is better. I know I've been hating on Denmark a lot in this video, but, you know, med glimt i øjet, som man siger.
Yeah. Well, to be serious for a moment, Jon and I actually did love our life together here in Denmark. We did appreciate living here. But we started traveling because we wanted to make YouTube videos. And on all these travels, we realized that we didn't miss Denmark as much as expected, but that we learned that there were other options for a better lifestyle out there. And that's the real reason why we left Denmark, because we found Portugal. And for us, Portugal is paradise on earth. Jon's parents' apartment now is for sale. And it's one of those apartments where you don't have to live and have your address in them, which is quite unique for Denmark. And I can't help but thinking, if only we have had the money, I would have loved to buy this apartment. Because then we always could come home and we would have our own place to stay when we're here, you know?
Yeah.
But
that's for later in our life, Amelia.
yeah, now we just need to get our own house sorted out.
I like Denmark. I'm proud of being from Denmark. And I'm so happy that I was brought up here. As Amelia said, you know, you couldn't pick a better country to grow up than Denmark. There are no downsides to living in Denmark. It's all about...
Only the weather.
The weather sucks.
It's all a matter of preferences in the end. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
In the next video, I'm going to say goodbye to my childhood home in Esbjerg. It's in the boonies. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
This is my old high school. I was a straight A student. Almost didn't graduate.